So, welcome to Let's Get Organized for the Summer. And that is a wordplay. When we talk about summers, we talk about the summer personalities like myself. I am a summer, so I definitely understand how being all over the place can be a problem with getting organized. So, we're going to show you how to take your Players Club and with your um, binder and your team tracker, show you how to make your initial calls and go from your initial calls to your uh, presentations to helping them become an IBO or what have you, and moving forward with that, and then moving to your follow-up calls. So there's a system in place that I put together, and hopefully we will be able to get you situated as far as learning how to do just that. So as you see the Players Club form here, you're basically have three sections. You have the first section which deals with the 50 new personal contact leads to be potential customers and those agents. These are the individuals where you're going to put their name, their telephone number, and their date. And of course, you see there's numbers 1 through 50. As you see that I'm using the PDF format, so the cursor can go from lines 26 to 30 and all so forth. And then from there you move to the 15 new product and or business presentation mode made, where this is where you're going to put the individuals that have confirmed that they have actually watched the video. If they have not confirmed they have watched the video, they do not go up here. So what happens, let's just say we've made 5 calls and no one's actually done anything, but or we haven't gotten a hold of anybody, but Gregory Cropewood has actually seen the video. So once we know that Gregory has seen the video, then his name goes here on line 1. Also, how did he see the video, or what presentation mode did we show? And you have live presentation, in-home presentation, conference call, one-to-one call, web presentations, three-way calls, DVD, or other. That will go in the introductory section along with the date, which allows you to keep track with what's going on. Again, if they have not confirmed that they've watched the video, they do not go down here in the 15 new product and or business presentations made. So with that being said, you got to make sure that you put in a type of introduction, whether it is a web presentation, the DVD, or whether it was a one-to-one or anything of that nature. Forgive me for the screen rolling up because it's a little bit glitchy, so work with me. So we're going to go back down to the 15 new product and or business presentations made and make sure that we put which type of presentation under the introduction, and the date, because what that does is that allows you to keep track of everything, and it's also duplicatable. And by putting the presentation, WP for web presentation along with the date, that allows you to keep track to see how long it took you to call back or follow up with them, to make sure that once you spoke with them, that you're actually tracking to see how long it took you to determine whether or not they're going to be a client, an agent, or a referral. Remember, just another tracking mechanism so that can help you. So now we've made the call to Gregory, and now we're going to mark that Gregory has been moved to the 15. So what do we need to do? We need to mark him out up here so that we do not make an additional call. So you want to keep track of the calls that are being made so that you don't make repeat calls. And again, it allows you to track better what you have done. So now that he's been scratched off the list, we know we're not going to have to make any new calls to him. Any call will now move to the follow-up calls. And also too, that is not the only type of tracking that you're going to have, because not everyone that you call is going to pick up. So there are going to be individuals that you call that go to voicemail, or they're going to be individuals that you call that call you back while you're in the process of making the call. So you're going to need to notate those things. What about you call somebody, you've actually got a hold of them, you sent them the video, but they have not informed you or confirmed that they actually watched it. They do not go to the 15. There needs to be a note stating that you sent them the video, but they didn't respond. So they don't get moved to the 15, remember, until you've confirmed it. So in the case of Dino, you called him. He said he's going to watch the video. You sent him the video at the appropriate time, but you cannot reach Dino. So what do? You notate it and let them know, whoever them is, your upline or what have you, yourself, that you called, you sent the video, but there was no response. So what do you do now? After you've notated, you move on. So you call Pebbles. Pebbles actually watched the video after you sent it to her. So what happens? Pebbles gets scratched off the first 50 and moved down to the 15. Why are we doing this again? We're doing this again because you don't want to confuse Pebbles with a follow-up call when you've already sent her the video and Pebbles has actually watched the video. So what did you do? You sent her the web presentation on 9/20. And after you send her the video on 9/20, you make sure again that it's already been notated. So what do? Now you go back to make some more phone calls. You call Bam Bam Betty, Jane, Elroy, Ernie, or what have you. But again, you want to keep track of who you have called and what the status of that call. Did it go to voicemail or what have you? And what that will do is that will allow you to know whether or not it becomes a follow-up call. So let's just say Elmo actually watches the video after you sent it to him. So Elmo does what? Elmo now gets removed from the 50 to the 15. So as of right now, you have 3 individuals who have confirmed that they've watched the video. Okay? Of course, after you confirm whether they watched the video, now you got to determine whether or not they're going to be a client, an agent, or a referral. But I'm just trying to show you from this aspect how to break it down from here, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a situation to where you have to follow up with them anyway. You know, they're going to need more information, so you're going to have to send them more information. Okay? So that's basically what that boils down to. And again, please don't forget that as you send those individuals the video and you have not been able to reach them after you sent the video, they do not, I repeat, they do not go down here to the 15 new products and or business presentations made. They stay up in the 50 until you actually confirm that they've watched the video. Because up until that point, you don't know. So you just simply need to notate that, hey, these individuals were sent the video. They told me I can send the video. And then you move out accordingly. And speaking of moving out accordingly, I will slide all these quotes out here to make it a neater presentation. And also, too, just for my sake, because my fall is coming out, I am going to highlight these individuals as people that I have sent the video to, but they have not responded. So that separates them from the individuals who I have not connected with, meaning I called and left a message, or I called and did not leave a message, but I have not sent them the video. So let's just say that Big Bird actually watched the video. I got a hold of him. So now that I've gotten a hold of him, what do I need to do? I need to change the notification that he called me back and has watched the video. And, then I will be able to move Big Bird from where? I will be able to move Big Bird from the 50 to the 15. But first I need to notate that. And after I notate that, then I will be able to move him to the 15. And before I move him to the 15, I need to do what? I need to cross him off the list, so then I won't mistake him for somebody that actually I sent the video to and didn't watch it. So I'm crossing them off the list, and now I'm putting them down here in the 15 along with my other 3 15 people or 15 new products and or business presentations made. So Big Bird saw the web presentation and he saw it on 9/20. Again, it's for tracking purposes and allows you to keep track of everything that's going on. So let's just say Pebbles actually decides that she is ready to make a decision on where she is in the whole process. So again, what do? We don't do that. What do? We actually cross her off the list and put her down as a client or an agent in the 5. Remember, she now gets crossed off of the 15 and moved to the 5. So again, we will not be calling her back to determine whether or not she is an agent, a client, or a referral. So here she is signed up as a protection plan member. She's scratched off. So now she is officially off the 15 and moved to the 5. Now Ernie has decided that he wants to become an agent. So Ernie gets scratched off from the 15, moved to the 5. Put in Ernie's name here. And the date, the sign up date, 9/21. And then put agent, not credit restoration, agent. So now we've made 20 calls total. Out of those 20, 4 of those individuals have actually watched the video. And out of those 4 that have watched the video, 2 have made a decision. Pebbles became a protection plan member, and Ernie became an agent. So what do we do now? Well, they need to be moved off of that list to a new list for further tracking. And we're going to track them by putting them into the team tracker. And putting them into the team tracker allows us to further track the progress of Pebbles from the standpoint of being a protection plan member, because we want retention. So there are going to be some things that we're going to need to do as we put this information in here. So pay no attention to the addresses because they don't exist, but I'm just filling this out for time's sake. And while I'm filling this out, I will explain to you that we want to retain the protection plan members. We don't want attrition, we want retention. And in order to retain them, we have to walk them through their services. So because of that, we're going to keep track of what they've been doing and what they've done. Now, this may seem like some work, and it may be, but it's definitely worth it to retain those protection plan memberships so you don't have to keep going back and getting more after someone has quit after 3 months of being in the service because they didn't know about the additional services, or they just weren't satisfied because we did not reach out to them. So of course we're going to put in the address, city, state, email, phone number. We're not going to put in any goals because they're protection plan members. They may or may not have some goals. If they have some goals and the protection plan services can help them achieve those goals, you're definitely going to put it in this area. So because this is a team tracker for agents, there are some things that they're not going to be required to do. They're not going to be required to fill out the new agent checklist or the essential tools or credit restoration sales. However, you definitely need to get them set up on their protection plan services. So what I will do is we want them to submit their life insurance beneficiary forms. We want them to send in their documentation. We want to track these things like complete their will, trust, power of attorney. We don't need them to order their Vista prepaid card because it's no longer a service. But we definitely want them to set up their financial lockbox and set up their debt zero program. Again, this is going to take a couple of times of making phone calls. So you got to be ready for the long haul. We're not going to need them to deal with services covering, getting prospects or new agent checklist, order essential tools, or credit restoration sales. Those things they're not going to be required to do, so you can just scratch those out. But it will allow you to keep track on the other services. Free protection plans, there may be a plan to do that because they may want their services for free, so there might be an incentive to help them get their services for free by converting them from a protection membership to an agent. So that's something that you can discuss unless they are originated as a sale from a referral source. We're not going to need the conference calls. We're not going to need the video trainings, classes, or anything like that. As far as the training events, no, the only training event that they're going to need is the Wednesday night call, and I don't see it up there. So there it is, product training call. So let me go ahead and mark that so we can get that there, so they can make sure they get that checked off for them. And again, we can keep notes, of course, on the client to make sure that you're definitely keeping track, because again, it's all about retention, not attrition. Attrition is bad, retention is good, and you always want to keep up with their progress. So I'm going to save this so that I can get back and follow up and keep up with it, so I know where it is. So I'm going to put it in this team tracker folder, and I'm going to label it. So now you see we have a protection plan cell that now we can keep track of. So now that we've moved Pebbles from the protection plan membership, from the Players Club form, now we can do what? Scratch her off the list so we don't call her by accident. And again, it's also a good tracking mechanism. So now that we've got her scratched off, we can move on to who? Ernie, the agent. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up another sheet. I will probably have to clean it up because I don't have one already prepped. But hopefully this information has definitely helped you and show you the power of being able to keep track. And again, like I said, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a separate day for your new calls and a separate day for your follow-up calls. And I will be covering the follow-up calls briefly after we go through the process of putting Ernie onto the team tracker. And again, as I move Ernie from the Players Club form to the team tracker, I want to come back and scratch Ernie off because we want to be able to track him so that he is now a candidate for us to follow up with to make sure he has done everything that he needs to do to get him to sales director. Remember, he's going to be treated differently than a protection plan member because Ernie is an agent, and our goal is to find out what it is that Ernie wants to accomplish. So there's going to be a little bit more hand holding, if you will, a little bit more training, a little bit more developing, because Ernie is an agent. Ernie isn't a protection plan member. So we got to get Ernie tied into the system. We got to get Ernie moving through the services and him tracked so that we can keep up with him. And also, this form is a good way to leverage to make sure Ernie is doing what he needs to do. Because if Ernie isn't doing what he needs to do, you will know that. And then when Ernie calls you and asks for some help, you can go, hey, did you fill out your new agent checklist? Did you order your tools? Did you, have you got a credit restoration sale yet? Did you set up any of your protection plan services? So this allows you to hold Ernie accountable. And holding him accountable allows us to help Ernie develop. And the development is very important. The personal growth is important because that does what? That helps develop the mindset. And as we know how Director of Training Greg Ammerman says, the mindset is what's going to allow people to grow and move forward and start getting the training that they need, because without the mindset they're not going to get the training. So the mindset has to actually start before we get them to a sequence of success. So I'm sitting there trying to put the zip code in and it's not working properly. But again, like I said, the mindset is important, and without the proper mindset we're not going to be able to get them to set up their protection plan services, or help them get the sales, or order their essential tools, or even discuss them getting promoted from any aspect, because they're not going to do it. So this tool, along with the Players Club form, allows us to keep track to see how they're progressing. Because if they can't fill out something as simple as a new agent checklist, or start ordering their tools, or the card magnets or things of that nature, what are they doing, right? So now we're going to also go over their reason for getting started. What is their reason why? So Ernie's reason why is he wants to live by himself without Bert. and they've always had a tumultuous relationship. So we're going to help Ernie get to be living by himself. And again, the reasons for getting started was something that we can reflect on when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So this is crucial when it comes to holding them accountable, because it's kind of hard to hold somebody accountable if you don't know why. Another reason that Ernie got started is because he wants to develop a strong five-figure income. I mean, what can you say? He's a muppet. He doesn't make a lot of money. Also, he wants to buy Big Bird. Don't ask. It's a long story. So we're going to also put down goals. What are we going to be able to do to help them get started? Again, these things are crucial to helping us make sure that they're on track. And goals do just that. Goals help us lay down a plan so that that plan can be followed. And again, it's another measure, another way to make sure that they're being tracked and also held accountable. So if an individual says, well, I can't get any credit restoration sales, then we ask them, are you putting in at least 20 hours per week? And if they say yes, then you say, well, okay, well, what did you do in those 20 hours? If they can't tell you what they've done in those 20 hours, then chances are they didn't do anything in those 20 hours. They didn't fill out their new agent checklist, order essential tools like the card magnets, the business card. They, of course, didn't get any credit restoration sales. And then we can ask them, hey, did you submit your life insurance beneficiary form? Did you send in your verification documentation? Did you complete your will, trust, and power of attorney? Did you order your... Nope, don't need to do that because we no longer have that, so we can scratch that out. Did you set up your financial lockbox? Did you set up your debt zero program? So there are a lot of things that they could be doing, and if they haven't done any of those things, they're not going to be able to get to field trainer, senior field trainer, and sales rep because they're not following the plan. And if they're not doing those things, then the likelihood of them getting their free protection plans so the services won't cost them anything is highly unlikely. They're also going to need to turn in their Players Club form because, again, it allows us to hold them accountable to see exactly what they're doing. Are they on? Did they get on the new agent training call? Did they do the product training call? Did they, log into the new agent orientation? What about the motivational Monday call? Are they doing the training classes like compensation, sales, recruiting, or mindset? Again, this is a checklist that needs to be done to help our agents get track of everything. And you figure, if they do all these things that are listed in number 10, then, if they do all these things listed up to number 9, it's safe to say within 3 to 6 months, they should at least be a sales director because they've done everything. I mean, that does make sense, doesn't it? And even if it doesn't make sense, just nod and say yes, because after enough trainings, it will definitely make sense. You figure 3 to 6 months of consistently and persistently following the system and getting all these things done and developing a regiment, a routine, there is no way that they won't become a sales director, because that's what Greg teaches us to do. He teaches us to create or help build sales directors so they can in turn do what? They can duplicate. And it's a lot easier for them to duplicate it if they've already been through it. So this is just one way specifically for the summer personality to do this and keep track of everything without going crazy, getting overwhelmed, and not doing anything. Because let's face it, most of us come from a job. And in our job, we have a list of things that we need to do in order to not get fired. We have a checklist of things. And it's kind of crazy, as Greg Ehrman always tells us, that if we don't give our people a checklist, they're not going to do anything. We can't expect these individuals to come in where they're used to being in an environment where they're constantly being told what to do, and then just dump them off with a bunch of information, a bunch of forms, a bunch of sheets, a bunch of videos, and we're not giving them a format to follow, and we're not telling them what to do. So with the Players Club form and with the team tracker, that's what it allows us to do. So now 20 calls have been made. And of course, if you go ahead and get 2 names a day, you should be able to fill out this form within a month's time frame. And the goal is to get all of the names filled in so that you can complete the form. And after you complete the form and made all of your new calls, then this becomes a follow-up sheet. Think about it. This does not become a follow-up sheet until you've made all of the calls. So if that's the case, then all of the names need to be filled in, and you need to have called everybody at least once, or at least until everybody has let you know that they've watched the video. Okay? And then and only then will this become a follow-up sheet. So you should be making 50 new calls before you recall those individuals that did not pick up, or they did not pick up after you called them after they said they'd watched the video. So there is another booklet that you can use to help you keep track of things if you're a little bit more organized. You can use the prospective customers. So let's just say you could have put Pebbles in the prospective customers form, where it basically tells you where you can put the name, the important information, the source, personal info, follow-up, and you can put those notes. And again, this is for individuals that are a little bit more organized than the summer personality. If not, then you just use a team tracker for both protection plan memberships and for your agents, which makes it easier to keep track of everything and everybody, and you can always just notate which one is which. So you're going to bring up a new Players Club form, and I'm just going to clean this sheet off right quick. So this new Players Club form is for your new contacts, individuals that you've met while you were out and about, people that were either referred to you by an existing client or one of your agents that you're helping to build their team. These are individuals that are going on this new sheet that you have not called. Remember, you're going to create 2 separate days to make calls. One day that you're going to make calls is going to be for new candidates. Another day that you're going to make calls is going to be follow-ups. That sheet that you put in the back, the Players Club form that you put in the back, those are the individuals that you're going to call to see how they are, to see if they had the opportunity to watch the video, or if they haven't watched the video yet, you're going to call them to determine, if, are they willing to watch the video. Either way, that would be your follow-up call day. I suggest for us summers that we do not make the new calls on the same day that we make the follow-up calls. Why? It just gets confusing and we will end up not making any calls. Ask me how I know. Better yet, don't ask me how I know. I'll tell you, because it has actually happened to me on more than one occasion. So I try to make all of my new calls on one day, and I make all of my follow-up calls on a separate day. That just makes it easier, and it just makes it easier for me to focus on one script and one script only. And 9 times out of 10, your follow-up calls are going to go by a lot faster than your new calls, because you're going to actually reach more people on your new calls than you do with your follow-up calls. But the fortune, as they say, is in the follow-up. So as you're out and about and you're generating new contacts, they're going to go on this list, and you're going to do the same thing for this list that you did on the other list. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happens to the individuals that wants to refer people to me? Those referrals go on the new list, or they go in the space of the new list that you're working with. And then you treat them the same way you would treat any new contact. You just use the referral script. So they will go down to the 15 and then down to whether they become a customer agent or what have you. Hopefully this was very helpful to you, and again, this is my first time doing this, so I hope it was very beneficial, and I look for feedback. And if you have any questions, you can actually reach me. My name, phone number is actually on the contact sheet. So have a great day.